May your heart find peace anywhere you come from. Coulda up, you coulda down. Blessings on my nation. This city can't hold me. My vibe's too high, and my heart it told me jump right now. You will touch the sky. Feel my love unfolding like a laughing flame. All who did not know me when I done, they gon' know the
building a new flyover down by Uriah Butler, and I'm feeling something. Oh yeah, election coming. I hear they building a super highway straight to Maracas Bay, and I'm feeling something. Election coming. I'm hearing a lot of things, but I ain't seen lots of things. And when the campaign get hot, there's a whole lot of ifs and buts. If we win the election, poor people wouldn't be sorry. If we win the election, everybody will work for money. But when they win the election, the poor man ain't stand a chance. Same amount of suffocation is the same khaki pants. Fella told me a little secret. Very soon they would pave the streets. I'm feeling something. Election coming. He said don't worry about them potholes. They're gonna wipe them out of this world. I'm feeling something. Election coming. There will be plenty sweet talking tongue when the campaigners comes around. But if you're poor, don't confuse your head. Promises can't put butter in your bread. If we win the election, poor people wouldn't be sorry. If we win the election, everybody will work for money. But when they win the election, the poor man ain't stand a chance. Same amount of frustration is the same khaki pants.
And good night to Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. Those of you listening locally, regionally, internationally. Our North American listeners, a special good night to you. Those of you listening in Canada, those of you listening in the US.
Like to promise, like promising is their business. I'm feeling something. Election coming.
And of course, good night to our UK listeners. Good night to you, Giza. Good night to you, Irvin. Hope that you all are having a wonderful, wonderful night tonight. Well, actually, morning in your case.
But if they lose, look at Bacchanal. Don't try to collect that ramgoot at all. If we win the election, we are going to look after vagrant. If we
really had to find myself by Angel this weekend.
them assistance, but when they win the election, the vagrants don't stand a chance. 5 years after that instance is the same khaki pants.
And folks, we're going to open the phone lines from early tonight. Yeah, the phone lines are open. You can call. Yeah, nice. That's 1473 or 440-7377. You can only call us on the WhatsApp, but the lines are open.
You got to support your party. You got to vote because this is your country. I'm feeling something.
Election coming.
Got to make sure that you register. Don't depend on brother and sister. I'm feeling.
You hear that part there? Let me bring that part back again, man. Yeah.
You got to support your party. You got to vote because this is your country. I'm feeling something. Got to make sure that you register. Don't depend on brother and sister. I'm feeling something. Election coming.
Let me see if I can get that call.
Betterment. Remember your vote really means a lot. Don't mind how you fed up with.
Your caller, you're gonna have to call back. I don't know what's happening there. I've been trying to answer it and I'm not seeing what's happening. Yeah, let me see. You've got to make sure that you register. Don't depend on brother and sister. You have to make sure that you are registered. Because a lot of people, they're talking nice. They don't like what's going on in the country. But at the same token, they are not registered. Listen, you'll be surprised that some of the people are not registered, you know. You'll be very surprised at some of the people that are not registered. You'll be very surprised at the number of people who just running to get registered. So you have to make sure that you're registered. You can't say, I'm depending on others to come and vote to save me. You have to make sure that you are registered. You have to also make sure that you get everybody else who you can, who is supportive of the new national party. Other people go mind their business. We mind NNP business. Yeah, you have to make sure that as many, those of you in the diaspora, you have a special responsibility. You have to contact your relatives here in Grenada and make sure that they are registered. And you also have to make sure that you all organize for all of those who are not yet registered to register, and then you have to remind them to vote. You have to do that. You have a special responsibility. So make sure not only that you are registered, but that every other supporter of the NNP is registered as well. Don't take it for granted. Over the years, I have been saying to you that sometimes we believe a person is registered and they check the voters list and everything, and we believe that these people are ready. They go in and vote because they registered. Sure, on that one election day, see that house there? I know we had 3 votes inside there. Don't take that attitude. 1, make sure that they are registered. Get the names and the 3 votes that in that house, and you personally make sure that they are registered. After that, you need to make sure not just that they're registered, but where they are voting. I've been saying that to you all for a number of years now. Double check. Because you saw what happened to the leader of the opposition in Barbados election. But you must have lose the election if that is your attitude and your behavior. I mean, I've heard us stupidness in elections before, but I mean, that one takes the cake. How could you be the leader and you don't know where you're voting election morning? You just take it for granted. Yeah? You just take it for granted that I'm voting here. So you take it for granted. And you go with your wife election morning. Your wife can vote and you can't vote. You don't take anything for granted. You, listener, may have been voting in the same place since Sir Eric Matthew Gary was on the Grenadian ballot. So you may have been voting since the days of Eric Gary being on a Grenadian ballot. It does not mean that your name can suddenly appear in somewhere else, in another area. You know that every year, when election time, you go and vote at that particular school. We just go in the school and vote. And you fully expect that going in the school and vote. And election morning, you go to the school and your name is not on the list. Remember, the qualifying criteria for a voter in the Grenadian election is that your name must be on the voters list. That qualifies you to vote. Wherever your name is on the list, you are qualified to vote there. Everything else is important, but this is more important. To use some very bad English that is not the King's or Queen's English and is not proper, it's importanter. Yes, it's importanter. We're creating English here. So the qualifying criteria is that your name is on the voters list. Once your name is on the voters list and they can verify that you is you are allowed to vote. Notice I didn't say once you have your voter's ID. Notice I didn't say once you have identification. Something tragic could have happened the day before. Somebody in the house could decide, no, she going and vote for NNP. I go in and hide she ID card. She'll never be able to vote. And they go and they hide your ID card and you don't have thing. But once your name is on that voters list, you can go up there to vote. And once the people inside there should be able to identify you. And there's a procedure where I believe a document has to be signed. I can't remember the name of the document right now, but they have to sign that document. That says this person came, they didn't have any valid identification, but we were able to identify them. We know that was Sheldon. So we allowed him to vote. Yeah? In case any challenge is made later on. So they have to take note of that. And I believe there's an occurrence book and so on. So there are different things that they have to do. Let me hope I'm not mixing up Yans and Lucia. But as far as I remember, that is how it is. So you must make sure that your name on the list. You can't be saying you're a supporter of the new national party and you're not sure that your name on the list. How are you supporting it? How are you ensuring that NNP get back in office? Listen, if all you think NDC sitting down just so and allow NNP to come and beat them easy, joke all you're making. If all you think is because every time NDC come in office, they spend in one term and then they gone, that it easy so to just one term and they gone, joke all you're making. If you all believe that it have a certain cycle that running, and the cycle is NNP, NDC, NNP, 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 NDC, NNP, and that is how the cycle is going to go the next time, joke all you're making. The only way to win the race is to run it. That's the only way to win. You have to run it. And in order to run it, you have to have everything in place. Now, I know the NNP. There is no stronger political party in probably the more organized or more institutionalized political party in the Eastern Caribbean than the NNP. And they have proven that in the way that they have won elections before. And I dare say that when the time comes, the new National Party, being the institution it is, will win the election, but it depends on me and you, because remember, election day, every single candidate starts on zero. Nobody starts with 500 votes in the box already. Nobody starts with 20 votes already. Nobody starts with 3,000 votes already. Everybody starts on election day. Be they prime minister or pauper, they start on election day when they are candidate with 0 votes in the box. And then the political party has a responsibility, and the supporters have a responsibility to make sure that by the close of polls, whether that's 6 o'clock or so, that by the close of the poll, that their political party, that their candidate, full the box, have the majority of votes in that box. So they have the responsibility to go out there and find the people and bring them to vote. And don't just depend on people to get up and say, well, okay, now they will find their way. No. They have the responsibility to make sure they get their people to come in and go and vote on election day. So every candidate starts on 0. So on election morning, back when people used to be laughing at Winty and laughing at Justin McBurney, was his name, GOD, good old democracy, all of them started on the same footing as the people that eventually win. Because when the ballot box was checked on election morning, there were no votes inside it. At least there is not supposed to be any votes inside it. Other than that, that would be illegal. So it's supposed to start with 0 votes inside it. So on election morning, everybody starts equal. And it is what you do after election morning that will bring home the victory. So you know that by 6 o'clock, you're supposed to already be in line to vote. You know you have to ram up the X for the NNP. And you know you have to be in line by 6 o'clock. And you know if you can't make it by 6, you have to make it as early as possible, before 12. Because you have a responsibility to make sure that your vote is inside. Remember, the box empty. You're trying to fill it and you don't want the other side to fill the box with more of their votes than yours. So when you finish cast your ballot and you're going home and you realize your neighbor, who is an NNP, still home, and they can't go and vote, you have the responsibility to say, hey, what going on with your time? Go and vote. What happened? You need somebody to look after the children? You know the children does be by me all the time. You know you're safe with your children here. I go look after them. Go and vote. Go and vote. Because you're going and vote for these same children. What you have to do today is just as important as securing these children. I will help you. I will secure these children for you while you cast your ballot. We all have that responsibility. Our responsibility right now is to make sure we check the voters list. Our responsibility right now is to make sure that we identify, yes, they had that period there, but it doesn't mean that you still can't challenge names all now. So right now, we still have to look at the list. And the people who have died, we must take note of them and pass it on. You know who your constituency caretakers are. With the exception of one constituency, and even in that constituency, you know you have people that have been carrying on the work in that constituency. So you know who the individuals who will be going forward are. You know the people who are around them. Get to work. Because the other side is not going to lie down and just allow the NNP to roll over them. And believe me, and let's say it straight here tonight, you and I know, man to man, woman to woman, the NDC cannot win the next general election. So they only have one option. Well, two options. They have to try and buy it, or they have to try and thief it, because they can't win it honestly. And if we, not the party, the party telling you what to do, and the new national party is doing its work. See, some people, the NNP is doing its work, and a lot of work too. But if we, the supporters, I'm speaking to us as supporters now, if we fall asleep at the wheel, we'll end up with a situation where we could snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory. Yeah? And we ain't want to go down that road. Because if after 3 and nearly 4 years, this is what that group of incompetent, incapable, incapacitated mentally individuals has done to our country, imagine what can happen if they have another 5. You have the situation as exists right now with various people speaking about different. I mean, you heard the president and so of the Public Workers Union speaking about the issue of dismissals and so. In fact, let me go to a GBN news report. I have to talk about GBN. Let me go to a GBN news report, because you heard her speaking about what is taking place within the public service of Grenada. And let's hear what she had to say.
The president of the Public Workers Union, the PWU, Daisy Hazard, is raising concern over what she describes as an extraordinary number of employee dismissals within the public service over the past 2 years. Hazard made the comments during a press conference held on Tuesday at the Public Workers Union building in Tantin, St. George, where she provided members and the media with an update on the union's representation efforts and ongoing negotiations. According to the PWU president, several employees have been dismissed over the last 24 months without what she considers proper due diligence.
In the Public Workers Union, within the last 2 years or so, and right now currently, we are seeing too many employees, too many workers just dismissed. It is unprecedented within the last perhaps 10 years of our history that we who are sitting here can recall, that wantonly, it appears, easily, without proper process and circumspection, workers are being dismissed. We do see cases, and there are cases where we see the employer do due diligence, follow protocols, give warnings, but we also see dismissals where people's feelings feel aggrieved, or you just don't like how a worker acted or what they might have had to say.
Hazard emphasized that while the union's primary responsibility is to represent and defend public workers, it does not condone wrongdoing.
I want to say here right now that even as the union stand to defend you, even as the union supports you, and that is our responsibility, this is the reason why you pay us dues. We don't have the largest to say, I would represent Brother Hugh in this matter, or I will represent Sister Homian in this matter. But if Tom comes with another matter, the union will not represent. The union always represents because that is our responsibility. But when you make it difficult, when the employer can present to the union conclusive and comprehensive reporting on actions that you ought not to be doing in the workplace, misconduct, repeated misconduct, that is brought to you. We are not a union that will not say to members where you ought to pull your socks and your boots up. That is also our responsibility. But what we're seeing now in the workspace, the level of dismissals, that's not good enough.
She further noted that in some instances, dismissed employees have eventually been vindicated, with the state being required to compensate them. Hazard is urging government to ensure that proper procedures are followed and that state resources are used wisely, particularly in matters that could result in costly legal or settlement payments.
So we want to caution and urge government, stop wasting the resources of the state. Stop dismissing workers without just cause. And then taxpayers in the long run pay. That's not the only worker. I've mentioned Mr. James, but he's not the only worker. Those of you who are prosecuting workers, those of you who are acting outside the provisions of the staff order, those of you who are acting outside the provisions of the SRNO, you ought to stop. And you ought to advise policymakers properly, such that they will not be wasting taxpayers' money by going after workers for no other cause except that they can and having them dismissed unjustly.
The Public Workers Union say it remains committed to advocating for fair treatment, transparency, and accountability within the public sector. Christina John.
All right, folks. So, yeah, that is a report from GBN. Remember, these people say that nothing like that taking place within the public service. They ain't firing anybody and that kind of thing. But now you have heard directly from the president of the Public Workers Union that, yeah, people losing their jobs. She didn't come to say that new people getting jobs, She came to say that people losing their jobs. I was contacted over the past few days by an Imani trainee, and she was telling me that they're hearing right now the talk that they've been told by some of their supervisors nonetheless is that the program is due to be folded, that this government intends to call an election and immediately after the election send all of them home. That is what the Imanis have been told. They have been told directly by some of the people supervising them that, yo, this is what's going to happen with you all. You all are going to be sent home. But they're talking about, in fact, we shouldn't be talking about sending home people now, Because right now, everybody was supposed to be not contracted, not under Imani, anything. Everybody was supposed to be permanent workers. We're not supposed to have Imani right now, according to the pronouncements of the NDC when they were in opposition. And when they were saying that they want to do this and they want to do that and the Imani is this and the Imani is that, and tried to make the Imani into a bad word. And I always say, I get upset with even some of our own people that were part of that nonsense, using the Imani in a negative sense. The word Imani, nonsense. And some of our own people were doing it too. They got caught up in it and didn't understand what they were doing. And make people feel embarrassed to say, well, I was an Imani trainee, or I am an Imani trainee. Or make people feel embarrassed to say, the job that I have right now as a middle management person in the bank, or in the credit union, or in the insurance company, or in one of the bigger businesses in Grenada, that management or middle management position I have right now is because the door was opened for me through the Imani program. Some people made Imani into a bad word so that people was afraid to mention that. And then you hear these things, you listen to GBN, and I think it was on the news. Let me see if I get that one. The news today on GBN, and you realize that there's a problem now with paying certain segments of workers. So you realize, as we have been saying, that there are many categories of workers who are not receiving their money. They're not being paid. They are not getting their money. And let me see, I think there was a story on GBN this evening, regarding that one. Let me see if I can find it.
Well, we want to pay. In the name of Jesus, I want me pay today.
The affected employees say the situation has placed significant financial strain on them and their families, as many depend solely on their fortnightly income to meet daily expenses. The workers are represented by the Grenada Technical and Allied Workers Union, TAU. Andre Lewis, President General of the union, stood in solidarity with the frustrated employees, raising concerns about the prolonged delay and calling for urgent intervention to resolve the matter.
Interest is to go to work. The workers have work to do, right? There are issues outside there with dengue and other things that people need to go out and treat, and they are training on the list to go to do it. But you can't do that on an empty stomach. You can't do that when you go home this evening and your child is asking you, Mommy, Daddy, what is happening? You can't say anything. Yeah? So we need to address that issue, that human aspect. Enough time has been given for that. So for us, reporter, based on your question, we want to go to work. Right? So this year is not a withdrawal of labor. This year is sitting, waiting for somebody to solve the issue for us.
GBN spoke with several workers within the unit who shared troubling accounts of inconsistent payments. One employee reported receiving just $76 for an entire fortnight, while others claim they have not been paid at all for the period in question.
We will not be able to get the money at all. No, if you don't get paid on the 15th of February now, it goes directly to the 15th of March. You understand me? Now, how could you be paid at the middle of the month $62.02? You can have drivers that get the same thing, $66.02. It have workers here that paying mortgages, loans, and things to take care of family and friends or whatever for $74.00. This is overbearing, and nobody can give us an answer and say basically what is going on, what is how they solving the problem.
We want to pay today, Friday. We want it. Issue a check and give us money. We can't take that no more because we have children to take care of. We have to pay boss to come to work. We have to eat and drink every day. We have to pay we light bill and we phone bill and everything. And we can't go in now and Grenada and tell them we don't get paid because he have so many workers right now presently. Now I call them off because they don't have money to pay because of the no payment.
I did not receive mine for this fortnight as yet, but for the past 2 fortnights I was short. Imagine workers who are here for 20, 30 years and getting $74, $66, $10 on their account for the past 2 fortnights.
The workers say the delay has left them struggling to cover loans, household bills, and other essential expenses. Many describe the situation as unfair and emotionally distressing. They are now calling on the Ministry of Health to urgently investigate the issue and ensure that all outstanding wages are paid without further delay. Vector control officers play a vital role in safeguarding public health, particularly in efforts to combat mosquito-borne illnesses. The workers say they remain committed to their duties, but are hoping for swift action as they await word from the ministry on when their outstanding payments will be settled. Reporting for GBN News, Shania McIntosh.
And folks, just remember, this is the same government that said they wouldn't pay later, and that's just one category of workers. You have a continuing problem with the nurses where they have not received their honorarium. And in fact, some of them received at the last pay packet, they received a portion of the honorarium after not receiving any at all. In the first pay packet, they received half of the honorarium the last time around and are still owed. And there are other little payments that they and the doctors need to receive that they have not been receiving. So the doctors and nurses, they're not in the exact same boat, but they're in a similar boat. You promised them, they didn't come and tell you. The union didn't come and speak to you to get the honorarium. You went to the workers and say you're giving them honorarium because you like to bribe. So you went to the workers and you said to them, we're giving all your honorarium. And now, while you have not paid the nurses and the doctors their honorarium, you are making provisions to not only bring doctors and nurses in from various parts of Africa and kick out the Cubans are saying exactly what they're doing as it is. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm saying exactly what the NDC government of Deacon Mitchell is doing. They are preparing to bring in people from different parts of Africa, Nigeria and Ghana, bring in these doctors and nurses, provide housing for them. You can't pay the honorarium of the nurses that they know. Provide the honorarium for them and still pay them a salary that is similar to what they would have been receiving in their own country, which might be more than other doctors and nurses are receiving here, and give them other benefits. Because they are not in their home country, you have to give them additional benefits. You can't just bring them here and pay them the same as the local nurses. And in the interim, be honest. Say that you are getting rid of the Cuban medical program, the Cuban medical brigade. Just say it. Other countries have said it. They said, look, we are getting rid of the Cuban medical brigade. But here, they want to be so dishonest that they can't tell you that they're getting rid of the Cuban medical brigade. That is what is taking place. They want to play the biggest progressives. They want to play like the Maurice Bishop reincarnate. But look what they are doing to the Cubans. You can't be Maurice Bishop reincarnate and do what was done to the Haitians a few years ago. You can't be Maurice Bishop reincarnate and do what is being done to the Cubans right now. Don't play it if you can't say it. Path revolutionary excuses. Want to play revolutionary? What revolutionary? All you feel growing a beard means all you is Fidel Castro or Che Guevara? Or Camilo Cienfuegos? All you feel is so? Growing a beard means use one of them? Using the language that they use when they speak. You think that makes you one of them? It is having the grit and determination to stick to your ideals and do what you honestly believe is right in the face of grave danger. That is what made these individuals I've mentioned there stand out. That they put themselves on the line to stand up against overwhelming odds at various times for what they believed in. And that don't mean I believe in what they believe in. It just means I understand why their names are being called. No one will be called for many, many years to come. But the names of the individuals who are forming the present government of Grenada right now eventually will be forgotten to history. And that's not just me saying it, that's what the reality will be. They will be forgotten to history. The only thing they will be remembered for is being a failure. And that's a fact. Let's see if we can go to the phone lines. 147344. I think I have the problem sorted out now. 147344073777. And the phone lines are open. You can call. Yeah, we're not supposed to be having problems in relation to payments right now. Let's hear what the Ministry of Finance has to say. No, wrong one. Let me see here.
Remuneration affecting certain officers within the Ministry of Health. In the release dated February 13, 2026, the ministry stated that in coordination with the Department of Public Administration, the Ministry of Health, and the Accountant General's Division, steps are being taken to resolve what it described as administrative discrepancies impacting employees. According to the release, the government of Grenada recognizes the vital service of the affected workers and expresses regret for the distress and inconvenience caused. The ministry emphasized that restoring payments is a priority and every necessary measure is being taken to investigate and ensure prompt payments to those affected. Now, a toddler is seeking...
Yes, indeed. Yeah, but we're not supposed to be having that problem. If all you broke, say all you broke. That's all we say, no. If all you broke, all you know all you broke, just say all you broke. Stop trying to put it on the public servants and say the public servants do this and the public servants do that. If all you broke, say all you broke. Can we understand? Yeah? Let me see if we could find a thing here and play. Let me see if we could remind people of this particular one. Yeah. We have to remind you of this.
About empty treasury. we in the NDC, we have the exposure. We have had the exposure. Good? And we know what to do to find money, to look after the needs of our people. And as I have the mic, let me say, as we go around the country and we speak to our people, that's a topic that they always say to us, we go pay salary late and we don't know how to run a country. Tell them that we say we know how to run a country and tell them that we wouldn't pay salary late. All right? Tell them that affirmatively. We will not go to pay salary late and we know how to run a country. They always say to us, we go pay salary late and we don't know how to run a country. Tell them that we say we know how to run a country and tell them that we wouldn't pay salary late. All right? Tell them that affirmatively. We will not go to pay salary late and we know how to run. That's a topic that they always say to us, we go pay salary late and we don't know how to run a country. Tell them that we say we know how to run a country and tell them that we wouldn't pay salary late. All right? Tell them that affirmatively. We will not go to pay salary late and we know how to run a country.
All right, yeah. They're not going to pay salary late and they know how to run our country. And that was said on the 1st of June 2022 at the cinema in Grenville at an NDC town hall meeting. So that was the 1st of June, yes, the 1st of June, the year 2022 at an NDC town hall meeting at the cinema in Grenville. So all you can say that is AI, we had the full video. We could show other things. All you say they doing about seaweed and all kind of thing. We could say other thing that all you say they. But this thing is continuing. The groundsmen have not been paid. So the people that you saw a while ago, and the story a while ago there, these people and them, they have Grenada to face, Nobody is calling from the government ministry because Masabul Masako. Nobody is calling and say, leave these people alone because we ain't pay them $60-something at the end of a fortnight. That's what these people get. $60-something and watch. We have to ask the question, which government minister pay has ever been late? They increase it. Which government minister pay has ever been late? Which one of them had to go and tell the children that I can't buy this, I can't buy that for you because my salary late? We have a little problem. Which one of them sitting in cabinet right now has had to be peeping outside to see if Grenada coming to cut them off or if Nawasa coming to cut them off because the government of which they are part didn't pay them in time? And they're getting all kind of $12,000 and $13,000 according to what they're doing and more according to what they're doing. These people is not that kind of money. One minister's salary might sometimes pay 4 and 5 of these people. Which government minister you ever hear complain that the salary late? You hear one talk up time about he does end up with 50 cents and that was before they get themselves a big raise. So which one of them you ever hear complain the salary late? But no, the groundsmen, like they don't have family too. So the groundsmen not receiving their money. The paving crew who had to fix all them potholes left, right, and center, they ain't getting paid. Like they don't have family, they don't have electricity to pay, they don't have water to pay, they don't have internet to pay for the children and themselves, they don't have food to buy and bring into the house, they don't have children to send to school. So these workers who are working in the vector control, you cannot treat the people like if they are nobody, because if it was a problem, and God hear me, if it was a problem with the government minister's salary, it would have been solved within 24 hours, not even 48, Within 24 hours, the problem would have been solved. How come their salary have no problem, but everybody else having problem to get the money? How come? Police officers having problem to get the money. Nurses and doctors having problem to get the money. Vector control having problems to get the money. Pavement crew having problems to get the money. The groundsmen having problem to get the money. Contractors who are contracted to do jobs on behalf of the government of Grenada getting problems to get the money. And imagine they're getting problems to get the money now. And now they are telling the contractors, if we give you a piece of road or a drain to do, you have to use your money and do it, and then we go give you back your money. Not government go give you a 50% up front and you do what you could do, and then we watch it and we see, well, okay, you're doing proper, and we give you our next set, You find your money and do the project, and then we gonna give you back your money. You think contractors going to take them seriously with that right now, considering what's taking place with payments? You have teachers that are having problems to get their pay as well. The president of the GUT, on about the last 3 press conferences he had to come out and complain that teachers, some of them months, they can't get pay. And they're still showing up into the classroom and teach our children, but they can't get pay. But if it had happened to one government minister had gotten $60-something at the end of a fortnight, if one of them did get it, within 24 hours the problem would have been solved. But the bottom line is they broke. So they just had to admit they broke. I think we have a caller online. Let's go to the phone line. Hello, good night.
Hey, good night, Sheldon. How are you doing?
Ade.
Yes, Sheldon. Sheldon, this government is going to be the worst government. Well, Sheldon, I remember the government boost the amount of money that they have. And brother Sheldon, people working with the government, they can get money. That's why people that work.
Boss, I just went over the list of that. Let's skip to something else. I just went over all of that.
Okay, got it.
We don't want to go and repeat the same thing to the listeners that I just tell them.
Move past
that point. Yeah, go ahead.
Sheldon, I want to say again, with this government, the corruption that is taking place within this government. Among the corruption taking place, where the government, the chairperson of cabinet, which is the prime minister, and brother Sheldon, I could say, previous government there is little corruption, but right now, this government corruption taking place left, right, and center, and the chief person, which is the chairperson of the cabinet, he knows everything about the corruption taking place, but because your friend that involved in it, it's not a problem. Right? You will not prosecute your friends, and then for the corruption they do and tell them stop it. Because the corruption they do, they will bring on your government. But you see, what the prime minister see? He see friends. He don't see morality. He don't see integrity. He don't see good governance. All what he see, if friends and them making money, there's not a problem with him. While the friends and them making money, people that they work hard to get the money is a problem. It's a problem. I want to say again to the people going to Carriacou. Yes, we recognize that you go and vote for people, a leader that you know nothing about, with a good smile, speaking proper language. But Mango speak proper language, and what he's saying, they are set of lies. I want to say to you, the people going to Carriacou, yes, we have to admit you made a mistake, thinking that you're voting for something better. But when you check the record now of this government will go in history, Sheldon, as the most anti-poor people government. A government that don't see people. Only time see people for the 4.5 years. When coming close to the election, the same people that walk in, the same people that they sent home, they go back and tell them they love them to vote for them. But I want to say to you, the people are going to compete, remember how people treat you. How they treat you. And when they come in your face, listen to them, but you know what to do. Come next election, you vote for the party that will seek your interest. The party that will make your life better for you. And for Grenada to go forward, we had to vote NMP. The NMP party is a party of transparency, a party of integrity, and a party of good governance. And when we elect people to be candidates, we elect people that not the work getting into government will be the first job. People that has a work and they know how to work with people to better the living condition. Sheldon, have a blessed night.
All right, thank you. Yes, indeed. 1473-440-7377. That's the number for you to get onto the inside of tonight's program. And let me just show you all the release that came out from the government of Grenada. Yeah? It says for immediate release, statement from the Ministry of Finance on health workers' remuneration. The Ministry of Finance is aware of the current delays in the remuneration of certain officers within the Ministry of Health. And in immediate coordination with the Department of Public Administration, they need to fire the person that write this. Because this has been going on for how long? The people talk about they only get $60-something in a fortnight, and immediately they fire the person that write that. We have a call online. Hello, good night.
Hey, have a good night, man.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm alright.
All right, go right ahead.
I was listening to the minister talking about they don't pay late, they won't pay late, and they know how to run a country. Well, I believe him. They don't pay late, they just not paying. All right? They ain't paying late, they just ain't paying. Simple as that. And they run in the country, they know how to run it, they run it to the ground. So that's 2 points that I quite agree with them. The point is that they ain't paying, and they run the country in the wrong direction, they run it to the ground. In fact and in truth, this NDC is just not good for government. The country, I don't know what's going on with this three piece of rock. If these guys get another chance, the whole country finish. They finish. I am just trying to tell my people, Grenadian, who have any intelligence at all, please, just look at what's going on now. And remember, they're going to come in front of your door again. They come with a set of lies just now.
They already reach in front some people on, you know.
Yeah.
They already reach in front some people on.
Yeah, they go come with some more pie in the sky. They will start to talk about this hospital, what is the name of it, which I know it ain't gonna have nothing. They ain't having nothing like that. Not even a stone driving in the ground. Nothing happening. Nothing ain't having ain't having that.
Let's hope something does happen, because the amount of money that they don't borrow in relation to that. Man,
my brother.
Let's hope something happens.
I want people to listen to this. What is going to happen is that these people are going to make it their duty to leave the next government and the young people that are coming up in a set of debt. These money that they're borrowing are usually going to be disappearing, and we're not seeing anything. And they know they're going out of office, so they don't care. The rest who's coming now, poor Miss Pierre and them, have a lot of problem, a lot of holes to fill up. And the young people who had to pay a lot of money for years to come. And that is what this NDC is doing. I've seen it from way in front. They have no powers. So Sheldon, if people cannot see that, I don't know what they're waiting at, but they will prove me right sooner or later. Good night.
All right, my brother. Good night. And folks, I just received some information there that the students that are studying agriculture in Guyana, they haven't received their money. Yeah, so again, more they paying. The people in Guyana, they are not getting their money. They're going down there to study agriculture. Government is supposed to be giving them a stipend. They ain't getting money. There are situations with several young people that I know that are trying to improve themselves. I know of one. And if any of you want to sponsor a young person to SGU, let me know. I'll put you in contact with the young person. Because if a young person doesn't have a mother and a father that could support them, fighting up and do what other little side jobs they could do to try and raise money to go to SGU, and government refusing to give that young person a single cent towards them studying at university, Houston, we have a problem. We cannot continue down that road. There is no way you can assess some of the young people that I've been hearing about there. They're trying. They don't even, they're trying to get, they're taking little what side work they could do because you're at SGU. It's not like you could take a full-time employment, so you have to take one little pankwai. Yes, the old word pankwai that you could get to try and make a little 100 here, a little 200 there, a little 300 there. Because the parents, they are not at the level that they can help this young person. And they are going to SGU and having to try and find now the 4,000 to go and pay SGU. Have to try and find that money on their own. And then remember, they're going down. So they have to eat. They have to survive. They have to get transport to a point where you could get the SGU transportation. And government ain't helping that young person. Well, a couple of them at all. At all. Refuse. They're not helping. So if you're broke, say you're broke. You see me? I broke. Another say I broke. That is me. With them, they ain't saying they broke. Say you're broke. No shame. Say you're broke. Because there's no possible way that they could explain this away. They have managed the economy terribly. Throughout the Caribbean, one of the things that has been bringing income into to Grenada and Caribbean territories has been tourism. And the latest stats that came out showed that there was a slowdown in relation to tourism in the Caribbean region, that each island has seen a decrease in the number of tourists visiting, which is directly affecting the industry and the amount of money that these heavily tourism-based islands are on. We also know the challenges that are facing. We know the challenges that are facing the CBI program right now. Yeah? Papa, I get some information. They're holding that one, boy. That one, I'll investigate that one for the weekend. I'll talk about that one on Monday. Yeah, shorty. I'm going to investigate that one. Yeah. So you can't tell me if one of them government ministers was in the position of one of these workers at Vector Control, that they went to the bank knowing that they probably have vehicle loan to pay, they have the children to take care of, they have the different utilities and things to take care of, that they went to the bank, or they got the notification that their salary has arrived, because you know we electronic these days, you don't have to go to the bank. And when you get the notification, it's $67 that go on your account. You telling me the ministers would have sit down there and they didn't do anything about it? So when you see the statement coming out in immediate coordination, why in immediate coordination? Stop lie and talk stupidness. The people have told us that they're having problem getting the money a while now. That the last fortnight payment they get was $60-something, drivers and different people. And it looked like some ain't get nothing at all. So this is not immediate. This is because they do what they do today, all your immediate now. But this was not an immediate action because you are dealing with a government that does not care. And the rest of it is just fluff. If restoring these payments were your main priority, you would not have to take immediate action now. You would have taken immediate action already. Look, I've seen a situation during the period of the NNP. Not that that category of workers were not paid, but that the payment was slow in going to a specific set of people under a program during the time of the new National Party. And one of the individuals reached out to me and they said, Sheldon, but we know usually we just get with money by this time, but we ain't see it yet what is taking place. And I went to Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. I said, Doc, this is what's taking place there. These people did not get their money and something needs to be done. The people say they ain't getting money and thing, and Doc looked into it and realized where the snag was in the system and immediately dealt with it. When I say immediately, I mean that within 24 hours, that's why I used 24 hours just now, within 24 hours, that situation was fixed. That is, people are care. Those people that just get directly involved and make sure that the situation does not affect people negatively. Because you didn't know about what was taking place there. I personally tell him, make sure immediately went and he deal with it. Yeah? And these people got their money. But under this government, I can tell you again, under the NNP, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, when he was sworn in as Prime Minister the day after election, immediately held a meeting with the Ministry of Finance. So he was sworn in at the Grenada Trade Center. Can't remember the exact day, back in 2013. He was sworn in at the Grenada Trade Center, and you know what was the first move? To the back in Mr. Ricky Bido office with Dwight Venner, the late Dwight Venner, who was the governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank at the time, if I remember correctly. So Mr. Dwight Venner, you had Mr. Timothy Antoine, who is now the governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. I think, if I remember correctly, I think Mr. Oliver Joseph went into that meeting with him, and there were one or two others that went into that meeting immediately because Dr. Mitchell wanted to ensure that he got a handle on what the financial situation of our country was. That is immediate action. Not waiting until people strike to go and deal with an issue. That is immediate action. He immediately had a meeting with the people that would know. And if there was a shortfall, as there was, because we basically came in and met no money. If I remember correctly, it was Trinidad that had to bail us out. You got in there and these people left an empty treasury. That was an empty treasury, not what this government meet. You meet nearly $1 billion there, over $500 million there. $500,000, yeah, well, getting to $500 million. You met there. This is not the situation that NNP met in 2013. But which workers could tell you that they were paid late and they didn't get this and they didn't get that? Which workers can tell you that? That was not the situation. NNP made sure that they paid and they paid on time. Yeah? I remember in 2013 we met a situation, and I'll get back to that. We have a call online. Hello, good night.
Hey, good night, Sheldon. Good night, Talking Points. How are we doing?
Hey, good man. Go right ahead.
All right. First of all, I want to give congrats to all the newly elected candidates for the next election, and wish them all the best. Sheldon, I personally have a friend that is working in the vector control department there. And this person tell me, he said, brother, boy, watch. What happened in that place there? Better this to him. Because he home and he getting paid and he working and he getting paid. And this has been going on since December. So some are getting January, some wasn't getting since December. My thing is, who is to be blamed for this thing? You have a Minister of Finance. You have what? The people in the ministry that in charge of this thing. Who are you blaming for this thing anymore? Because clearly the minister is getting the money. And this cannot be something like a partisan thing to say, well, is that NNP person or NEC person? That is somebody I'm making the calls to say, don't pay these people, or we have a cash flow problem. Which one is it? Because if the union is calling to it, and the teachers' union is calling to it, something is definitely wrong. And even the Minister of Finance is not looking into it. I mean, I don't know what to say again. But clearly, it affected everybody on all aspects of government workers, basically all teachers, regardless of who party you support, it affecting livelihoods. So this is very serious. You can't tell me you're working a whole month and you get $60 pay. At the end of your month, you get $60 pay, and that's something, right? And people finding, oh, well, fire that person and fire this person because they didn't do the job. Find out who's the source. Because if you're the boss of a workplace and you in charge of your accountants, you're the one to tell accountants, don't pay that money, pay that bill, pay this, pay that, don't pay a payroll. So somebody had to roll for that, and it comes from the higher ups. I don't care what nobody say. I know for a fact, in companies, it's the CEO that will say, don't pay salaries. So in this case here, the buck stopped with the Minister of Finance and who's below him. Understand? And I have no qualms, no bones. Them responsible that they fix it and fix it now. You understand what I say, Sheldon? So, folks, have a good night.
All right, man. Yes, indeed. And listen, I'm going over GBN news these days. Let me just play something from GBN. GBN, thanks, eh? Yeah, let me play something from GBN again for all you there. Because there's something that's happening, eh? GBN, I don't want to blame the young reporters because I think the young reporters are doing an excellent job. The reporters in general, you all are doing a good job and so on. I congratulate you all on that. But when it comes to the formatting of your news, I recognize something over the past 2 weeks or so. NNP stories getting buried. I realized the first segment of the news, only I'm bringing them NNP stories. And I'm saying it because it is reality. For instance, the Honorable Emlyn Pierre, who is the chair of the Public Accounts Committee, she held a meeting of the Public Accounts Committee. You all buried that nearly halfway in the news, where people don't start to switch off and gone over to MTV to hear their news and so. Because you all know, when the most people that tune into your station is within the first quarter of the news, people tune in and then they start to drift away to other things. So you all burying the NNP stories a little further down. Whoever responsible for it, just know that some of us watching and we could realize what you're doing. If it is a story that is negative towards the NNP, believe me, is one of the first three. Yeah? We just let our plane pass there. Wait, Papa. Yeah. You see how does he hear any plane when I'm home? That's how does we hear in the plane from a home. Yeah. So you, whoever you are that doing that, know that some of us could see what you're doing. Yeah? If it is the Attorney General making a statement in relation to me, it is the first news item on the Grenada Broadcasting Network. I kid you not. If it is something that is politically negative towards the NNP as far as they're concerned, it is the first news item on the Grenada Broadcasting Network. But anything that has a positive spin to it, I realize all is sticking it further down in the news. Sorry, it's okay. It's alright. Or you could stick it far away, or you want to stick it. Go ahead, stick it, man, stick it. Yeah. Let's hear this particular one. And folks, I just realized that you all are not getting the audio. Let me see if I can fix that for you all. Nice, yeah. So let me get that back from the start.
A recent consultation with contractors, Dr. Adrian Joseph described the arrangement as placing an undue amount of pressure on local service providers. He argued that many small and medium-sized contractors simply do not have the financial capacity to fund projects from start to finish, while waiting extended periods to be paid. According to Dr. Joseph, the policy forces contractors into difficult positions, often requiring them to seek loans or other financial arrangements with banks and lending institutions to complete government jobs. He noted that this increases their operational costs and financial risk.
I think it's an undue amount of pressure on our local contractors. It means, therefore, that some of them, most of them, I don't know many local contractors who can afford that, will then have to enter into arrangement with financial institution to meet that kind of arrangement. Now, doing that might be fine on the face of it, but then the government responsibility in terms of paying those contractors when the time comes to meet the obligations to the financial institution, is that being done? These are some of the hard questions that the government need to ask themselves as well.
Dr. Joseph further stated that while contractors may enter into agreements with financial institutions to move projects forward, the government has a responsibility to ensure timely payment once contractual obligations are met. He stressed that delays in payment can create serious cash flow challenges and threaten the sustainability of local businesses. The caretaker is calling for a review of the policy, emphasizing the need for a system that better supports local contractors while maintaining accountability. Reporting for GBN News, Shania McIntosh.
And as I said before, excellent reporting by these young reporters. I believe they are doing an excellent job. Yeah? Doing a lot better than some who even been involved in the thing for a long time, right? So excellent job. Stop burying the stories down in the middle of the news. Yeah, stop burying the people and them story. Right? If it's negative, front of the news. Negative towards NNP, front of the news. You all don't even broadcast anything if it's negative towards the NDC. You ain't doing that. Yeah, you come like a certain local publication now. Don't drag yourself down that way. You are the Grenada Broadcasting Network. Don't drag yourself down that road. We love you. We care about you. Which is why we want to preserve you and your integrity. Do the thing even and across the board. Yeah? I'm calling it out because I've seen it. Right? This story got buried down into nearly halfway in the news. I'm sure many people didn't even know this thing happened.
Each of you play what I consider to be a very critical role in supporting the work of the Public Accounts Committee. Facilitating the Public Accounts Committee means providing timely and accurate information, responding constructively to audit findings, implementing corrective actions, and viewing the Public Accounts Committee's recommendations as tools for improvement, not for criticisms. We could have gone straight into the audit reports. We could have gone straight into the public hearings, which is required by the law, that we do public hearings. I saw the eyes open. I have to say to you, you will be required to attend those hearings, which are required to be live and public.
Yeah, they held a meeting in relation to the Public Accounts Committee where quite a lot was said, but again, you wouldn't know because unless we play it here, you wouldn't know. That's why I played it. Yeah? Because of how it is broadcast. And now, I was speaking about the pay issue earlier. I'll just go back to that for a while. There has been an issue where corporals, people who have attained the rank of corporal within the Royal Grenada Police Force, have not had their salaries adjusted to the correct level. In other words, if you're a corporal and your salary, and I'm just using a figure here, don't go and ask them people for money. I don't know what's the salary. Let's say if you're a corporal and you're supposed to receive $3,200 a month, they continue to receive $2,800 instead of that. Let's just put it like that. That's not the figures, but let's just say that's the figures. And this has been going on over a year. And each time they approach the hierarchy of the Royal Grenada Police Force or others in relation to this issue, they are being sent further on and further on and further on and further on. And now, another pay cycle has arrived. In fact, today being the 13th, really and truly you would have expected public servants to be paid today. What I'm hearing now is that in vast majority they have not been paid today. Because they are the ones that say they're paying on a fortnightly basis, the fortnight is now. And they have not paid. And the situation with the corporals has still not been resolved. The corporals still not receiving the proper money after a promise from the powers that be that situation would have been sorted out. The corporals, you can't have people in the police force upset. You can't do that. You can't have that. They have to be out there late in the night, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, going and check on this, going and check on at 3 in the morning, running through the bush to try and find prisoner and all kind of thing. Had to face all kind of things, and at the end of the day, this is what they're going through? No, man. Come on. Come on, man. Come on. Really and truly, man. Sort that out. I just elevate the next set of people to corporal. They're getting the proper salary. But the people who've been corporal for a number of years, they can't get it. Explain that to us. The people who were just promoted to corporal, they are receiving the proper salary. But the people who have been corporal for years, not getting the proper salary as a corporal, something definitely had to be wrong with that picture. Let's go to the phone line. Hello, good night. Hello, good night.
Good night, Mr. Scott.
Kiame, what's up?
Good night, Mr. Scott, and good night to the Grenadian people, home and abroad. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
You're hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. You go right ahead.
All right. Yeah, you want your veteran boy.
Yeah, I come out red today.
Yes. But you don't want to take you. You not Maldro when you already say Maldro can take you. Anyhow, I want to say good night to the whole NNP family. I am so pleased to see that team. That team I see. Well, Mr. Davro, God bless you, sir. If I is voting in Guava, I really give you my vote.
Dabs.
Mr. Davro.
Yeah, the boss Dabs.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was a nice team. It's a nice team. There. You know, but I was shocked. Wait, I don't know. Well, I don't know, but I had to ask. The guy and the agriculture man, the good boyfriend was there with Andre. I wonder. I was saying, well, how that they don't call him a name? DJ.
No, he was a caretaker, and we'd like to congratulate him for the excellent job that he has done.
Because I know
But at the end, Mr. Robert White is the candidate for that constituency.
But I really thought was a man that run boy. That one it not.
No, that is why you say caretaker, because I have known people that was even candidate and didn't end up running. I've known situations of that right here in Grenada, of people that were candidate right up to just before nomination day and they end up in running.
Because every Thursday when they have agriculture thing, I calling wishing him and all the best. When I don't hear him, because I say, well, you are going on? Because all on platform is there. But anyhow, they know the business. I don't know. But I was shocked when I didn't hear his name called. But it's a nice team, and I wish them all the best. God bless them, and they have to do it. They're going to walk now. House to house, go to the people, speak to them. In there, let the people make sure that they name there and everything, and the young people, because everything now is about the young people, and a lot of the young people won't go and vote. Is the elderly, more old people have gone vote, you know. Old people have gone vote. Like they're forgetting the old people. So my question is tonight to them. Think about the elderly people more. I must talk a lot about the elderly people and make sure. Sheldon, a lady, an Indian lady ready. Ready is like Tempe up there.
Yeah.
She leaves something for you for the program.
All right. Well, when I get a chance to pass in town, I'll pass by you.
Yes. But not she alone, another one, and they tell me to make sure I let you know, because that's for the program, because they want to hear the thing when the night time come, and they sit down in front and they bed and they watching and listening. So they leave it
but
for
at the
you.
end, I'll say though, but at the end of this month, I think we will stop taking donations. Huh? I think we're going to stop taking donations at the end of this month. I'm going to be working on a different arrangement.
But you have to tell them, not me. I won't know about that.
That's why I'm saying it. That's why I'm saying it on air now.
Yeah. She tell me make sure I tell you.
Yeah.
Because they listen. Anyhow.
All right.
Anyhow, you know better.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say good night to everybody. I lie down. My football in me too. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Have a blessed weekend, everybody.
All right. Thank you so very much, Gabby.
Patty and Matthew, good night. And also Mr. Watts and your family, good night. Have a blessed weekend, y'all. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Yes, indeed. 14734407377. That's the number for you to call and get onto the inside. Yeah, working things are a little different, so we do need the help up until the end of this month, and then we're going to be working something differently. Yeah, we're going to do something a little different in relation to how we expand the program, and so yeah, I'm working on something differently. So 14734407377. That is the number for you to call and get onto the inside of tonight's program. Yeah, we cannot continue having this people ain't getting pay situation. And let me say something, huh? Some people might be upset with me saying it, but I need to say it. To an extent, we need to get rid of the 3-day or 4-day news cycle mentality. Some of us. A tragic event took place last week, Friday night, I think it was. Friday evening. Tragic event, the young lady lost her life. Promising young, imagine somebody who was training to be a nurse. And you never know, they could have trained to be a nurse and after a while decide, no, I really want to be a doctor, and they could have shifted over and go into that, but we'll never know because an individual was able to end her story. Yeah? And to see a particular publication, I ain't calling name and I ain't sending all you to check no publication, but I was going through the publications. And one of them I didn't see yet, but 2 of the main publications in Grenada. I went through them. And you know, in one, a particular one that will publish anything to defend the NDC has not even one line in relation to the death of that young lady. Not even one line. They have pages about the NNP and attacking the NNP and saying all kind of thing about the NNP. Pages. But not one line about what happened with that young lady. Promoting the NDC and anything deacon-wise, pages. But not a single I'm serious, you know. For those of you that know what publication I'm talking about, not a single line inside there about this young lady and what has happened. Not offering any solutions to stop something like that from happening again. It tells you about the individuals who control the narratives of that particular publication. It tells you what is more important to them, not the lives of Grenadians, but the preservation of the NDC in office in Grenada. It tells you it is more important to spend time attacking the NNP and members of the NNP and people who are associated to the NNP. It tells you it's more important to them to be promoting the NDC and promoting different aspects of the NDC and trying to promote as much as possible the agenda of the National Democratic Congress. It tells you that their time is to be spent in trying to warp the minds of Grenadians. That somehow there's some kind of boogeyman within the NNP that's going to suddenly reappear. That's what they are trying to push, but the life of a young one is not important to them. And you know, we speak about that young lady, but there are many other young people that died over the past year or two that should guide us and should have guided us into immediate action. Whether it is a man pull a knife and stab a young man, another young man in front of a shop and kill him. That happened. Just about within the last year that has happened. A guy pull a knife in front of a shop and stab an next one and kill him. We didn't have candlelight vigilance, and I'm not saying that it was a situation that necessitates a candlelight vigil and that sort of thing, but I'm saying that there are other families that are still hurting right now from murders that took place. And instead of just looking at this thing in singularity, just looking at this as one event, and let us avoid this event happening. Let us avoid all the events that happen. Which was the approach of the New National Party when they did things like the Badness Out of Style program. Where you got fellas that was involved in the chopping and the stabbing and the negative behaviors. Where you got those guys and you reformed those guys and you got those guys to be the ones to go and reform others on the blocks. And it worked. It worked. So you were not just going after the one group of individuals, but you go after young people and people in general and try to reform the thinking of people. So yes, we need not only tougher laws. I hear a lot of people, tougher laws is one thing. But if you say that in the law that a man could get 100 years, but the sentencing guidelines say that he has to get 1/3 off immediately, because the individual that committed that act last week, merely by saying that they're guilty, because they already said, according to their lawyer, they've already said they're guilty. I hope you all realize that according to the sentencing guidelines right now, they have to get 1/3 off of their sentence, you know. I know it's 1/3 off a life, but they have to get 1/3 off of the sentence, so they already looking to get 1/3 off. And then when they start to say that they have the problem, they can't remember nothing, they're pointing towards them being mental, which means that they're looking for that to be taken into consideration when they're being sentenced, so that they would be sentenced more lightly according to the guidelines that are set down. Don't think that he said what he said to his lawyer just so. This individual looked like he could be a lawyer for himself, because he spent so much time in the system, he understands the law. And after being sentenced 19 times, you would understand that saying guilty earlier meant that if you had to spend 50 years in jail, 60 years in jail, you have to get 1/3 off your sentence. So if you were supposed to spend 60, you go spend 40. And then since they're measuring it as prison years, 9 months and so on, that further, you're going to get further decrease. And then if you behave good, you're going to get further decrease, which is what happened the last time, and which, according to how they think. So there has to be an understanding of that, an understanding of how do we address that particular issue, so that he doesn't get away, that he stays inside. As inside he belongs, stay inside, because there does not seem to be any reform there. Stay inside. The responsibility of the government is to protect the people. You have to do it, utilizing the prison officers and the Royal Grenada Police Force and the psychological counselors, etc. Whatever you have to use, and that is absolutely necessary. And then it seems now that we have to start looking at self-defense. I know one good friend of mine was speaking about that recently, about the importance of teaching females self-defense. And if females are able to carry pepper spray, if I remember correctly the law, and I'm just saying it here, I believe that it has to be first registered with the police. I don't think you're allowed to have pepper spray just like that. They have to be registered with the police first. Yeah? So you can't just buy a pepper spray and have it. You're supposed to have that registered with the police. Yeah? The procedure and so I'm not clear on, so I'll get some more information on that for you. But different things so that our females can feel more secure. They can protect themselves if they end up in a particular situation. Yeah, all of those things have to be taken into consideration. We can't just leave things to chance. But it's amazing that a publication that says that it's patriotic and it loves Grenada could, at this point in time, totally just steer itself away from that story. Says a lot. Says a lot about them as individuals, and says a lot about us as a people, that many people dropped the story already. I remember when this stuff happened with Ariel. It's in my neighborhood that happened. Down in my neighborhood. I remember when this stuff happened quite recently with the young lady in Carriacou, where she was killed, and then they tried to hide the fact that they killed her and so on, and try to make it look like somebody else killed her and so on. That whole story, I remember that. That happened just the other day. Yeah? And what was done? The information regarding the sex registry has been sitting on the table of the Attorney General since 2022. We are now in the year 2026. They have no excuse. Let me repeat. They have no excuse. The consultations, the draft of the document, all of that was done during the period of the New National Party. And had the New National Party been returned to office, that piece of legislation would have been enacted. The legwork was already done. All you had to do was take up and pass it. But instead of that, they find themselves dabbling in other things that are beneficial to them economically on a personal basis, like CBI. When you have two ministers, including the Prime Minister, sitting in cabinet that benefit directly from CBI, that becomes the thing that they focus on. Ganja, let me let me tell you all something, eh? You see the decriminalization of marijuana and the invitation for people to come and set up their marijuana farms and so in Grenada and so. Let me just let you all know first thing. Do not be surprised that there are people sitting in cabinet that own the lands that some of them marijuana farm going on. Just remember to tell all you that tonight, the 13th of February, 2026, that some of the lands that those marijuana plantations and farms and so are going on belong to people sitting in cabinet right now. Well, I could go and shift it off all their name. Integrity Commission could follow it up if they do their work. So the lands that some of that going on, people sit down in cabinet. And do not be surprised which law firm you hear is doing all the legal work. One, to register the brand of the cannabis, because they have to register a brand and so on. Look very carefully in the government gazette over the next few months, and you will see which cannabis brands are being registered in Grenada and who law firm that carries the name Mitchell is registering them. You understand where the financial benefit comes from in relation to the laws, but there's no financial benefit to them in relation to the sex offenders registry. So they leave it on the Attorney General Chamber's table. And she, as a woman, even take it up and say, no, we need to do the same way we put into that. We need to put this through as well. She, as a woman, even say that. But you all check the government gazette. The gazette's gone and the gazette's to come. And in the government gazette, you see the registration. Once you might see the registration of the company, if they're doing it through CBI, and so you might see a registration there, but you'll see the registration of the trademark. Because some of the cannabis and so they have trademarks. Look who is doing the trademark and who making the money off of it. You think it's you? You think it's me? You think it's our children? Or our brothers and sisters out there? It's the people who sitting in cabinet that making all the money out of these things. Watch and you go see. Just remember it say 1473-440-7377. That's 1473-440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get onto the inside of tonight's program. Well, Papa yo. Yeah, Papa yo. NNP released the names of 5 additional caretakers last night. And this morning, I realized, like them NDC and them, they wake up, like I don't even want to say they wake up because some of them, like, it stressed them out so much they didn't even sleep. Because they had to be dreaming with some of the stuff I hear them saying this morning about the NDC go get the NNP, what Mia Motley give. All you better stop using cannabis if all you using cannabis. If that is the situation, all you better stop smoking it because it ain't good for all you. Something got to be wrong with all you. Hey. So I hear they hit the panic button right now. And they're trying to see what they can dig up to try and attack every single one of the candidates of the New National Party with a smear campaign. They have hit the panic button. Some of them seeing the cocktail coming. They smelling the cocktail coming. They could feel the cocktail already. And they panicking. Because the benefits, my brothers and sisters, the benefits are now in danger. So you realize that those members of the NDC who have benefited tremendously, that they are now in panic mode. I want to tell you panic, real panic. They're afraid. Because they know that their days in politics are numbered. Because I'll tell you this, after the next election, a lot of them, that is the end of them in politics, you know. Not just the end of them in government, that is the end of them in politics. The benefits they have been getting, they're seeing it about to disappear. They're hoping that Deacon Mitchell could hold on and call the election quite next year so they could make another 3-4 million. That they could end up with more land in St. Mark and in the south of the island and more land all over the place. Or do like certain people and end up with land all over Carriacou and so. That they could buy boat and buy bus and buy car and buy truck, etc., etc., etc. Because the gravy train real gravy in. You can't even hear choo-choo. He gargling under the gravy. So many of them are seeing that the nice life. They're getting people fired. Security officers can't even get the money and only getting rid of them. The nice life is in danger. So all of a sudden they're panicking. Don't panic. Don't worry, man. Only panicking, don't panic. Only inside the panic yet. It's coming. Remember I said earlier in the program, do the work, NNPites. Do the work. They are panicking because they realize that the NNP is on an upward trajectory. And they know what's taking place. There's a question from a listener a little earlier, if we have overseas voting. No, my friend, we do not have mail-in ballots. We do not have overseas voting. For an individual to vote in a Grenadian election, first of all, their name must be on the list and they have to be here in Grenada to vote. There is early voting only for members of the security services and so on, and other people who have specific duties that they must carry out on election day that would keep them from being able to vote. So they're early voting for like police and so, election day workers and so, they can have, well, police mainly have early voting. So the police can vote early because you know that the police have to be working flat out on election day. They have to secure the ballot boxes, they have to secure the locations, they have to maintain order and so on. Then you have other police officers that have to carry out the normal duties. So they usually vote before there's a police ballot day and then there's the election day. It's the general election day. Yeah, but we do not have overseas voting. People who are overseas must come back to Grenada and cast their ballot. Yeah? I know plenty people right now afraid to do that because they're afraid what certain people in the United States might do. So they're afraid. People in Canada only had a problem, right? Okay. People in England only had a problem. The rest of the Caribbean only had a problem. But there are others that have that problem, yeah? So they are very afraid. Folks, I am beginning to think I might wrap it a little early tonight because I'm kind of operating on E. So I may have to wrap it a bit early tonight. Yeah. I actually nearly didn't come on, but I know you all waiting for the program. I must come on. But believe me, tonight I really operated on E.
I hear the feeling and you fly over down by Uriah Butler, and I'm feeling something. Oh yeah, election coming.
And you know the thing is this, when it comes back to the sex offenders registry, all that work was done. I showed you here the Attorney General speaking, the present Attorney General speaking about that and saying they support it. She supported. And it's sitting on her desk. Going on 4 years, it's sitting on her desk. And nothing has been done to bring it. And they're going to rush and try and do something now. They're going to make a rush and try and do something now. But remember, it's been sitting on her desk for 4 years. We had the young lady, her life was taken in Carriacou. What if that person went to jail and come back out and so on? What about other people who have committed heinous crimes in our past? We know about a lot of people who have done different crimes and so, and eligible to be bailed this year. Not just people with sex crimes, there are other people who committed murder and thing, and this year they're coming out. I ain't calling names. Me? Papa, you let them deal with that. What is going to be taking place? Are these people just going to go just open the gate and let them out? Or are we going to start saying, okay, we need to have a strategy of how we release these people? If it's somebody that was involved in a murder, then we need to involve the witnesses, the family of the deceased, The family of the person who being released, everybody should be informed. This person is going to be released from His Majesty's prison on this particular day at this particular time. From the information we have, said person is going to be staying in this location or that location or whatever it is, that they are informed so that they can be safe. Yes, some people may say, well, if you're telling the family or the person that get killed where the person that been released is going to stay, you may be encouraging them to go and do the person something. But other person going to do them something. Yeah? So it's important, I believe, to give all of that information, as much information as possible, so that people know what is taking place. Because again, is that some people... Man, what I do sometimes is I read through some of the transcripts from some of the crimes that took place in Grenada many years ago. You can't remember a lot of them. From the 1990s, from 1993 come up. I could remember a lot of stuff that happened on our island. A lot of stuff that happened. And you're seeing some of the people from back in those days that committed certain crimes are due to be released. Yeah? They're due to be released. Some may have already been released. And I think it's important for especially people who've been involved to be informed in relation to that. That's what they need to be looking at. Not trying to fire people out of the public service, not trying to harass people who are out there, who are political activists and so on. That's what they're supposed to be using the state resources for. Instead of trying to tap the phones of members of the New National Party and NDC, don't try to say you all are not doing it. You all are tapping into the communications of different members of the New National Party. You all are attempting to hack into the computers of different members of the New National Party. Yeah? And anybody who knows. That is what you all have been doing. But you all to be using that to find out who might be some of the kingpins in Grenada who are bringing in the drugs that mashing up with children. Instead of you utilizing the technology and the resources to try and find some of the people who've been bringing guns into our country, wherever they're bringing it in, but trying to track them down, because some of them does be on social media showing off with it. And that's a fact. Some of them does be on social media showing off. And instead of you all using the technology to track down these people who might go shooting after each other and innocent people catching bullets, as happened last year, where innocent people end up getting shot. Instead of using the technology to track down these kind of people, all you're trying to mark up people in the NNP, who they talking to, who telling them this, who telling them that, to go back and try and spite people. But the longest rope ever end. The day will come when people involved in doing that will have to answer. The day will come. I tell you no hiding. It's technology, you can't hide anything. It ain't no hiding. The day will come. You're all taking, imagine the government of Grenada using a fake profile that has nothing better to do than attack honest, hard-working Grenadians day in, day out, and say all kind of nasty thing about people and children. That using the government of Grenada, using that as an official source to send out information to attack other people. You could imagine that? That is how low they have gone. That is how low they have gone. But as I said, folks, I'm going to wrap a bit early tonight. Yeah, and not 100% today. And I'm kind of force it, and I'm feeling it now. I kind of force it for today, and I'm feeling it a bit now. So I'm going to take it early tonight. You know, we're going to make that one up. So, folks, that's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you. In everything you say and do it safe and secure. Want to be speaking to and with you, and definitely not about you. My name is Sheldon Scott. I do enjoy the rest of your weekend. For those of you up in Saraka, in St. Andrew Northeast, I hope that you all are having a wonderful time. Eat for me and you. I can't come up here. Eat for me and you. Those of you up in Saraka, and those of you in Carriacou, I think tonight, which one of the shows is tonight? I don't know if it's Soca Monarch or if it's Groovy or if it's Calypso. I don't know which one of the shows it is tonight. Do enjoy your time up there in Carriacou. Those of you heading up, please do it safely. I will never forget what took place with that boat that had that incident in the waters between Carriacou and Grenada, going up to Carriacou for Carriacou Carnival years ago, where many families up there in St. Patrick lost many members of the family in that tragedy that happened up there. Some were never found. Yeah? I'll never forget that. And I would never like to see a repeat in that. So if you're going up to Carriacou, it's at the Osprey, it's at the other boat and them, it's at the plane, use something safe and go up. You see this thing about you're jumping on a fishing boat with a bunch of people and some thing of gas to head up to... don't take them chance. Sometimes we're young and we think we're indestructible until Papa God show us otherwise. Sometimes we're young and we believe we're indestructible. So please, let's not test God and not test fate. Yeah? Go up safely, and when you're up there, have a safe time in Carriacou. That is my homeland, so you have to respect my place. Right? Be safe up there. As I said, folks, that's all the time we have for tonight, and everything you do and say, do it safe and secure. Want to be speaking to and with you, and definitely not about you. I am out.
In my Father's house, there are many mansions. If it wasn't so, I would have told you. Oh, yeah. Walking in the footsteps of the Lord. I wake up in the morning.